It has been about 4 months with the Insta360 X5. How has that 4 months been? What are some of the settings that I've been going with and playing with? What are some of the new accessories that I've been playing with? We have a lot to talk about, especially because this will soon be getting a competitor in the United States because it already got one overseas, but we'll soon be getting a competitor in the US, and GoPro is coming out with another one this year also. So we're gonna have 360 cameras to compare to each other. It's getting exciting in the 360 world. Today though, let's focus on Insta360's summer update for the X5, because if you have an X5 or you are looking to get an X5, there's some big updates in this update that you should know about. If you have an X5, I would say for sure, make sure that you are updated to the new firmware and you have these on there. The first up, let's just jump into it, is adaptive tone. Now, what is adaptive tone? They say that you will get enhanced dynamic range, better color accuracy, and lifelike skin tones. Now, essentially how 360 cameras work is because there is two lenses on here, two cameras, it has to kind of average out an exposure to be able to stitch the world together and create your 360 image. But a lot of times, this lens is facing something really bright. This lens is facing something really dark. For instance, how I am almost always trying to put my stitch line is I'm not trying to hold the camera like this when I'm doing anything, because I don't want that stitch line to go through my face. So I hold the camera like this. Now that stitch line goes through my waist. Well, what that means is that the sun, the sky is super bright on this lens, and then the ground is a totally different exposure on this lens. So the camera is averaging out an exposure to be able to create that stitch. Now, what adaptive tone is allowing us to do now is essentially get more data into the camera so that when we go into the studio app or the mobile app, we are able to adjust each lens individually based on where you're aiming the camera. So if I'm reframing this way, it will actually adjust and adapt that tone so that on this side, that one lens looks really, really good. And I would say that the biggest thing that I've noticed is one, yes, skin tones look way better, but overall you just get a much more natural image. Before, if you're not in adaptive tone, which by the way only works in 8K up to 30 frames a second, 5.7K up to 30 frames a second. It does not work in 5.7K plus or any of the 4K video modes. It does also work in pure video mode. So what I've noticed is it looks more lifelike. So it's a better exposure to look more realistic than kind of that almost like overly HDR look that we're kind of used to by now of 360 cameras. Again, before, the camera was doing a lot more to try to make both of those exposures averaged out so they would both look good, and now adaptive tone in the studio app is allowing us to really focus on what we're pointing at and change each tone individually for a better exposure. And then next up is single lens mode. Now, single lens mode it's really gotten good. When I go into a single lens mode on this camera, I'm essentially using it like an action camera. So it is just shooting one direction, single lens, and it is going to film that way. Now that's really nice, but one thing that was lacking was pure video mode. We had pure video mode in 360, and now we have it in single lens mode. And that is just kind of getting us closer to this future where this is your only camera that you have. Right now, I still think if you're going out traveling, if you're gonna go film a lot of different stuff, I think it still is worth it to have a 360 camera and a normal shooting action camera. But the more and more that single lens mode gets, kind of bridges that gap between the two, the more that we get to a point where we go, hey, we grab one camera and that's all we grab. And adding pure video mode is massively helpful. Okay, next up, I'm gonna make the accessories video a totally different video, just purely accessories that I'm using and some of the new stuff they've come out with, but a couple that they've introduced with this summer update in conjunction with this guy. You see the orange rim around here? On all the other batteries, there's always been a blue rim, and that is because the batteries have always been 2400 milliamps. So 2400 milliamps is the normal battery for the X5. And let me tell you, like right off the bat, this thing has a stupidly long battery life, but we bring in this new Ultra battery and we are now getting run times in 8K 30 up to 115 minutes on a single battery. If you drop that down to 5.7K, 210 minutes. That's almost 3 hours of runtime on a single battery in 5.7K. Although I will say, I don't ever film in 5.7K. I'm always, well, no, that's not true. If I'm indoors or low light, I will sometimes switch to 5.7K, but in pretty much every other scenario, I am in 8K. And now with the Ultra battery, I get 17% more runtime than I did before. It's a 2800 milliamp battery, and now it's 115 minutes. Now, to get that 115 minutes or 210 minutes in 5.7K, you do have to go into the new endurance mode. Now, endurance mode says that it limits some features, but I can't figure out which features it's actually limiting. But when I do go into endurance mode, it gives me a little pop-up. I swipe down, I slide over, and I tap endurance mode, and it says enabling endurance mode will limit some features to extend runtime. Again though, it says right here, disable features, active HDR, AI highlights assist, which I don't really use, gesture control, I also don't use, voice control, I don't use, twist to shoot, don't use, low light enhancement, that's interesting, timed capture, face priority. Oh, you do lose face priority if you're in endurance mode. Voice enhancement, auto wind noise reduction, iLog efficient. The only thing in there that I really care about losing is face priority, because it is really nice to have face priority, but yeah, other than that, you get super long run times in endurance mode. To be fair though, I probably won't use that. I'll just buy more Ultra batteries. And then two other things that I want to touch on today before we jump into like an accessories video or like a settings guide to the X5 is, one is ND filters. Now, you guys have heard me kind of go through an arc in my life where before, back in the day, I was like, oh yeah, ND filters, it's so cool in action cameras. And then I was like, wait, ND filters are not good on action cameras because they are digitally stabilizing. So digital stabilization relies on a very clear image so that the camera can stabilize one frame to the next. So they came out with ND filters for the X5 and they are really good. Here's the trick. The camera, you don't want it to be like, in order to get a good image. What you want is the camera mounted on something that is moving smoothly so that that thing stays in focus, and the motion is like what's happening around it, right? You're trying to create this like speed motion, which by the way, you can do with normal footage in the app, and you can just add kind of a faked version of that. But if you want to make it in camera, you want to do it in camera, you throw the ND filters on there, mount it on something like a car, or you're skateboarding, but you're holding this like really steady and you're not like jostling it around a lot, so that your subject matter and the camera move slowly or smoothly together, and the background is what's going past you, and that's what's getting blurred out. The flow state stabilization relies on seeing one frame, seeing the next frame, understanding it, and then getting them, stabilized together. And the more motion you introduce, the harder it is for flow state to do its job. So caveats. Last thing I want to touch on. Now maybe I shouldn't touch on it. Have you guys seen the GPS preview remote? I should wait, and I should make this part of the accessories video. But this GPS, is it this camera or is it that camera? I have two X5s. Which one are you connected to? I think it's connected to this one. Hello? Oh, goodbye. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like do the whole walk down or walk through on this thing in the accessories video. But I will tell you, from this little remote, can you see that right there? From this remote, I can see my screen. I can preview my shot, and I can start and stop recording from here. Yeah, I'll talk more about this in the full accessories. Today, again, just kind of summer update for the X5. This is to kick off kind of a whole 360 series, not series. It just feels like it's like the season of action cameras is kicking off. And before we kick off officially, you got to know about the update. If you got an X5, make sure that you are updated to the latest firmware. I'll put on the screen what the latest one is right now, but always check that out in the app. And the next video, I will also talk more about my experience over the last few months, especially with replaceable lenses. As you can see on this one, I've taken some diggers and just swapped out the lens. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll see you soon.
That one's like like a little more darker. That one's a little more lighter, so it thinks it's like daytime.
It looks a little more like daytime.
Blue
Yeah.
sky. And
Hey, good job.
that one's a little like dark blue.
You guys are the best camera reviewers ever.
That one is lighter.